PDAC 2023 here in Toronto, last day, and we are now here at the booth of American Lithium, and with us is the CEO Simon Clarke. Simon, good to be here. How are you?
I'm great. It's really good to see you guys again. It's been a little while. I was really excited to catch up with Zonke again and see you guys, so it's great.
Great. So PDAC 2023 almost over. What are your feelings about today's show, this year's show?
You know, I think it's back to pre-pandemic levels. Last year was a little quieter, but this year has been really, really busy. And I think, you know, for us with lots of news on our projects over the last little while, we had a lot of interested people, North Americans, but also a lot of South Americans as well, which is great given where some of our projects are.
Okay, so you are active in the energy metal space, I would call it, with two lithium projects and one uranium project. Could you just give us an insight into your company and into the projects?
Absolutely. So, you know, American Lithium was set up in 2015. Originally, it was focused on Nevada. There was a little bit of stop-start. You know, initially the company went after brines. Our experience of the brines is the grades aren't what they need to be in Nevada, and we were advised by some very smart people, ex-Rio, ex-US Borax, that said, you need to go after clay stones. It's the big lithium trend in Nevada. And so we're on the same trend there as Lithium Americas, Ioneer, and Cypress would be the big four deposits. And with the success we had in that, we had the currency as the cycle turned, in 2020 into 2021, we had the currency in our stock price to make an acquisition, and we really liked Plateau Energy and the two projects that they had in Peru, Falcani in particular being the lithium project. Just a beautiful project, high grade, high purity, and it was hidden because Plateau was a junior and it had some issues. And along with that as well, we weren't looking for it, but we also picked up the world's 5th largest undeveloped uranium asset called Macosani.
Oh, okay, so let's dive a little bit into the projects. The first project you mentioned, Clayton Valley, TLC project. Could you give us some numbers, resource base, and do you have a PA out or something like that?
Yeah, so we came out with an initial resource, a very large initial resource in 2020 of about 5.7 million tons M&I. And then over the last couple of years, we've worked to really understand the mineralization, to put together what we think is a really robust economic study on the project, which quite frankly we believe is done to pre-feas level. The project is now into pre-feas because of the work that we did in the PEA, but you know, the NPV is 3.3 billion, you know, the IRR is close to 30%. It's a really big project, 24,000 tons of LCE a year, doubling up to 48,000 in year 6. So very robust economics, you know, solid OPEX, solid CAPEX. Our CAPEX is about 820 million for phase 1, and then about a further 600 million for phase 2.
Wow, okay. So then you already mentioned the Falcani project in Peru, also very well advanced. I think it's one of the largest lithium projects in the world.
Falchani actually, if you look at it on an M&I basis at this point, looks smaller than TLC. You know, it's got an indicated and an inferred resource, but the beauty of Falchani is it's open on all sides. We've been looking to do further drilling there for a while, but you know, with COVID and other sort of political issues in Peru, that's been delayed. Excuse me. What we have been able to do is very much move forward the metallurgic side, the processing side, and we have also, you know, we moved into pre-feasibility on it last year by starting our environmental impact assessment, which did allow us to get in and do some further infill drilling. So it's a beautiful asset. The beauty of it is it's high purity. So when you actually process it, you produce a battery-grade lithium carbonate through the flow sheet. It's got very few impurities. It's also got some amazing byproducts, SOP, which is very much needed in a Peruvian context. cesium, which is a specialty critical mineral, again dominated by China, and so we think it can be one of the largest deposits of cesium as well globally. So it's a wonderful asset. As I say, we're into pre-fees. We believe we can get it through pre-fees this year, and as part of that, we will expand the resource further and expand the flow sheet to include the byproducts.
Okay. So then let's come from lithium to uranium. Your Macosani project, also in Peru. What is this project all about?
Yeah, so Macusani is actually quite a well-known project. It was discovered by the British. They flew surveys in the 80s, and in Argentina, Chile, and Peru, it was the biggest signal for uranium. But then, of course, Chernobyl happened, and no one was interested in uranium for a couple of decades. And then you get into the early 2000s, and the price of uranium suddenly doubled, and people were interested again. So it's an asset that was originally there was a bunch of the district held by Cameco and other players. What was really interesting is Fukushima, although it was a bad thing for uranium, a lot of those players left, and it allowed the team at Macosani Yellowcake, who were the precursor to Plateau Energy, to build the district out. So it's a large resource. It's about 125 million pounds.
Oh, that's really large.
It's low to mid-grade, but the beauty of it is it's a very simple flow sheet. It's about 8 kilograms of acid per ton. It's really, really good. So the economics are strong. It has an OPEX, of about $17 a pound. So obviously, with uranium prices back over 50, the economics on it are highly robust. We recognize it doesn't sit within a lithium developer, so we have signaled to the market. We announced in December that our intention is to spin it out during the first half of this year into its own listed vehicle, and all the stock from that will go to shareholders of record in American Lithium.
Okay. So what are your plans for this year? What milestones and catalysts can we await from you?
It's a very busy year. Sometimes I lie in wake thinking, 3 advanced development projects, it's a lot. But, first and foremost, that's really why we want to spin out the uranium, because we believe it's an asset that can easily have a 200 or 300 million market cap in its own vehicle and advance aggressively through pre-fees. So, that's why we want to do that. And then that allows us to focus on what we really know best, which is the lithium side. And both projects, are in pre-feasibility. So there'll be lots of news on as we move, and update the PEA as part of that process at Falchani, and then do additional drilling, and then pull the pre-fees together by the end of the year. In Nevada, we're drilling for core now. We will pilot we use a large laboratory in Australia. We think the Australians have 20 plus years of lithium knowledge. We rate them as certainly amongst the best in the world, and so they've piloted hard rocks, brines, and clay stones under laboratory conditions. So we're going to do that to fast track things in Nevada. It means we won't need to permit a pilot. And again, look to pull the pre-feasibility together on TLC, either late this year or early next.
Okay. So much drilling to come, and pre-feasibility, that means you need money. So what's cash in the bank at the moment?
We have 40 million.
40 million, wow.
And we have a budget this year of about 23 million. We also have a lot of warrants and other dilutives that are in the money. So we tend to see a lot of those get exercised as our stock goes over $4 and up towards $5. And I think, the fuse on those starts to run out as we get to the end of this year. So we believe we're somewhat self-funding. I mean, obviously that depends on us continuing to deliver and the market to continue to be strong. And if that happens, we certainly won't be looking for capital. And even without that, we wouldn't be looking for capital this year. So we're in a strong position. We do appreciate that these projects are major projects, and it gets more and more complicated and more costly as you move through feasibility. So, you know, what you might see us look to do over the coming months, we haven't signed any offtake, we don't have any royalties, we don't have any debt, we're very clean. But at the right time, it probably makes sense to bring in a strategic with the relationships or the depth of knowledge that can really help us drive the projects forward.
Sounds great to me, Simon. So thank you very much for this insight in your very interesting company, and all the best for your plans this year.
Pleasure to meet you, Tim, and send all my best to Jochen.
I will do, Simon. Thank you very much. So yeah, that was Simon Clarke, CEO of American Lithium. You heard it, much news to come, much drilling, spin out of the Uranium project. And yeah, I would say check out the company, do your own research, and bye-bye from Toronto.